Number 10. Decoy spider. These decoy building spiders are exceptionally small, but they're exceptionally smart. Smart spiders? That's terrifying already. These spiders only measure to be about 5 millimeters in length, but you might see a much larger spider hanging out in a web that they've created. Now, this might sound alarming at first, but this larger spider is actually fake. Yeah, it's actually a decoy spider that the small spider built out of various materials, such as food, scraps, debris, and even their old skin. These spiders were only discovered pretty recently in the Amazon, so not too much is known about them, as there still needs to be tons of research done. All we know is that they like to make things that look like a large spider, and that's terrifying enough. Maybe it's for defense purposes, or maybe it's like the ancient Romans, you know? Maybe they're just statues honoring a spider god. That's terrifying. I take that back. Number 9, red belly piranha. I don't have to explain to you why a piranha is a bad idea to get near. I mean, we've all seen Piranha 3DD, right? That's a timeless classic. Well, the red-bellied piranha is one of the most dangerous piranhas in the piranha game. Its behavior is way more aggressive than that of an average piranha. It's almost like an acre of the rainforest disappearing every second is making it more aggressive. Yeah, I'd be aggressive too in those waters, no doubt about it. Number 8, the electric eel. I say, ooh, girl, don't touch this. First of all, never rub an electric eel like that. Never rub one like they're a genie lamp. You'll want more than 3 wishes at that point. That's horrible. That was the moray eel. That one, bite your fingers off easily, but you should never touch an eel in the first place because a lot of them are electric. As its name suggests, these type of eels can mess you up even if you were to get the first hit. Specifically, the newly discovered 2.5 meter Electrophorus volti, appropriately named after Alessandro Volta, aka the guy who invented the battery. It can release a shock up to 860 volts, more than 7 times the voltage of a wall plug. Number 7, the green anaconda. Of course we have to mention the anaconda. It's so scary, the biggest snake ever. That's horrible. This movie came out 25 years ago. I remember watching it with my family. It made me extremely afraid of snakes and water. Although the green anaconda is a non-venomous snake, the boa constrictor is still one of the most feared. Obviously, look at its size. Green anacondas live in calm marshes or slow streams. They wait until their large prey gets thirsty, and once they come to the water, the anaconda suffocates its lunch. It wraps itself around it like 17 times. It's the scariest thing I've ever seen. And then it just slowly eats it. It's so scary. It's so dinosaur, really. Anacondas hunt prey that's larger than us humans, so if they wanted to, they could for sure just swallow us whole. There's only no evidence of it happening because humans rarely interact with them. So yeah, let's keep that ratio at the 0 point. That would be great. Don't be the first guy to get eaten by an anaconda, please. Number 6, the boiling river. Ooh, this one's hot. It's real hot. It's pretty common knowledge that the Amazon is home to the longest river in the world, but there's another river found in the Amazon rainforest that is equally as astonishing, but for all the wrong reasons. Yeah, it's not good. As its name suggests, water temperatures in the boiling river reach up to 93 degrees Celsius. The steam coming off the surface of the water sure is inviting, but animals and humans know better by now. Yeah, no skinny dipping in this river, or any river for that matter. I don't know, there's still water snakes. There's still debate around the source of the heat for this river, but as of right now, it's believed to be entirely natural and geothermal. Now, despite the river not being near any active volcanoes or geothermal vents, it is quite an anomaly. It's odd, just a hot, inviting river for no reason. There are local legends, of course, that say the river is a place of power and that the mother of the waters is responsible for the creation of this incredible and strange, mystifying river. Yeah, I like the sounds of that way more than geothermal activity. That's cool. Oh, the mother of the waters? Yeah, she heated this one up. Come on in. Geothermal. I'm like, it's hot. You might burn your toes.
On our list, we have the incredibly bizarre appearance of a massive humpback whale in the heart of the Amazon jungle. No, I'm not kidding. A humpback whale was legitimately found washed up on land 50 feet away from the nearest ocean. And how it got there? Honestly, no one really knows. In 2019, the 36-foot, 10-ton animal was discovered far from its natural habitat in the undergrowth of the jungle. It was located after scientists were alerted of a large gathering of scavenger birds spotted in the jungle. There are a couple theories as to how or why the whale ended up where it did, none of which really do it for me, but I'll share them with you so you don't feel left out. The first theory is that the 10-ton whale was thrown out of the water and into the woods by rough seas after floating floating too close to the shores of Arona Beach, which is strange because whales are not usually found along the north coast of Brazil during February when the specimen was found. Not only that, but you're really telling me rough tides threw a 10-ton whale 50 feet into the jungle? Yeah, I'm just not buying it. Another theory is that some kind of mysterious alien force dropped the poor guy there, which honestly might actually make more sense at this point. But as always, when I can't figure something out, I'd love to know what you guys think. Next on the list, we have the boiling river of the Amazon, the perfect spa date location for someone you really don't like. The river's name is Shanai Timpishka, and it is said to be the home of an ancient Amazonian water spirit. Located in the heart of the central Peruvian Amazon, the river flows at a temperature of up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, 93 degrees Celsius, for just shy of 4 miles. The waters range from quite shallow all the way to 16 feet deep, and the widest point of the lake is 80 feet across. The river's heat comes from thermal vents, and while hot springs are not unheard of in this world, the magnitude of Shanai makes it a record-breaking find. Something else has also set this river apart from others found in the past. Generally, thermal rivers are heated by volcanic activity underneath the earth below the waterways, but that is not the case for this hot giant, which is heated solely by the earth's geothermal energy that escapes through cracks in the floor of the riverbeds, warming up the waters. Good for swimming? Absolutely not, but you could always make a cup of tea.
10. City of Giants. We often talk about aliens being responsible for building great monuments like the pyramids, but did we ever consider it might be giants? In 2012, something was discovered deep in the Amazon that might suggest just that. A group of researchers, paired with a team of local guides, discovered what appears to be the remains of a large city close to the Ecuador side of the forest. At the center of the city was a large stone pyramid, 80 meters tall, with a flat area on top which held many artifacts. Scattered around the area were many things like old pottery and, most curiously, massive stone tools. They appeared to be much too large and heavy for any average-sized human to ever have been able to use. The government of Ecuador ruled that the formations were just naturally occurring, but the researchers heavily dispute this, saying that due to the rectangle-shaped bricks, cement-like bonding material, and perfectly circular holes, it can't possibly have been caused by nature. Instead, they, and others, believe that this was a city built by giants long ago. What you believe is up to you. Number 9. The mappinguary monster. There are many different tribes scattered throughout the Amazon, some without contact to each other, and some without contact to even the outside world. Yet one thing that they all have in common are their stories of a large 7-foot-tall rainforest beast, similar to many cultures' depictions of Bigfoot. The creature is described to be bulletproof and having long hair. It apparently also has a smell that is so strong it makes hunters dizzy. These stories are so widespread and similar that many researchers have gone out in search of the monster, with no luck so far. Some scientists say that this is likely just a legend passed down for centuries, dating back to when giant land sloths roamed the forests, but local people believe it to be a spirit that will kill those who hunt more than their fair share. Number 8. The Boiling River. Hidden deep in the Amazon forest is a hidden river with unexpected and potentially magical properties. Children are told the legends of the Boiling River, about a giant snake spirit that heats it up. Andre Russo went in search of the river after having been raised on the legends by his grandfather, wanting to know if the stories of a boiling river could possibly be true. He took a long journey to reach the supposed location of the river, having to ask permission from a shaman who guarded the waters in order to gain access and study it. Russo discovered that the average temperature of the river was a whopping 187 degrees Fahrenheit, with steam pouring out from the top. It's speculated that the river boils due to faults deep in the earth, but locals believe that it's a magical river with healing properties and use it in their medicinal practices. When Russo was there, he noticed the scariest part of the river, that it kills just about anything that falls into it, dead frogs and other animals floating around where he stood on the edge. Number 7. The potoo bird. Throughout the Amazon rainforest lives a bird known as the common potoo bird. If it's so common, then what makes it so scary? I mean, besides its base. First, let's mention these birds' tendency to always be found in pairs of two, a male and a female. Because of this, legend goes that there were two children, a boy and a girl, living with their father and stepmother. The stepmother was evil and greedy, wanting to gain all of her husband's inheritance, so she convinced the man to abandon his children within the forest to die. He succeeds, leaving them lost in the forest with no hope for them to find their way out. However, the mother spirit of the forest took pity on them and adopted the two as her own children, making them into birds. Stories go that the call of the potoo bird sounds like children calling out in anguish, desperate to escape the forest and return to their family. If you think this legend sounds a lot like Hansel and Gretel, you'd be right. This one just contains a lot less candy and witches. Number 6. Dangerous animals. Well, we've somehow made it this far without mentioning the many scary and terrifying creatures hiding within the depths of the forest. Life in the forest has evolved these creatures to have many unique and frightening abilities in order to survive. Let's start with perhaps one of their most famous, piranhas. Piranhas live in the Amazon River basin and are known for their incredibly strong and razor-sharp bite, even being known to have eaten human flesh. Next, poison dart frogs. While beautiful to look at, as their name suggests, they secrete a poison that can cause heart failure in just a few minutes. Arachnophobes look away, as I'm going to tell you about the Brazilian wandering spider. It is one of the most venomous spiders on the planet, and 8 different species of them wander the forest at night in search of food. So you may want to double check your sleeping bag before you get in, as their venom can lead to trouble breathing and paralysis. Finally, a very famous name in the rainforest, the green anaconda, or man-eater. These snakes can grow incredibly large and kill their prey by suffocating them within a tight, coiled hold.
At number 10 is Carcasas in Venezuela. This place is like a hotbed for some seriously dangerous gang activities. These aren't your regular street groups. We're talking about basically militias armed to the teeth with heavy weapons like all kinds of firearms. These guys are basically their own military force. The units in Carcasas have more firepower than the actual police. They basically control entire neighborhoods, and the people living there are pretty much scared for their safety all the time. Carcasas has one of the highest crime rates in the world, with nearly 41 homicides per 100,000 people. Now, one of the big shots in this chaos is a guy named El Coqui. He's a big deal in these parts. His group controlled huge neighborhoods until a while back. Now, the thing is, he's different from other leaders. He's never been to jail, he runs it from outside of prison walls, and he already lived most and longer in his line of work. The government tried to make things simpler with things called peace zones, which essentially told these groups to stop doing crimes and we'll leave you alone. But guess what? Instead of calming down, they just used that time to gather even more weapons and grow even stronger, turning into a huge mess that made these mega gangs even scarier. So while this place isn't technically banned from the public, anyone who fears for their life should definitely steer clear of this city. And number 9 is Colonia Dignidad in Chile. Colonia Dignidad was like this eerie, self-contained mini society nestled in Chile's countryside. Founded by Paul Schaffner, a former official from the fascist group from World War II, you know the one. This place seemed like a utopia from the outside, with lush gardens, schools, and a hospital, but inside was total nightmare fuel. There were tales of this dude's iron-fisted rule, brainwashing, manipulation, and all sorts of creepy mind games. Cut from the rest of the world, living in this controlled environment, people spoke in whispers about the severe trauma that went on behind the closed doors, physical, psychological, you name it. But it gets even darker. Colonia Dignidad wasn't just about its weird internal rules. It had ties to the Chilean military dictatorship in the 70s and 80s. Rumors swirled around them being involved in all kinds of horrible things and serving as a secluded base for clandestine operations. The Chilean government eventually stepped in during the 90s and investigations were launched. It got its name changed to Villa Bavaria, trying to erase that haunting past, but the stigma remained. Even to this day, it's closed off, with the remnants of a sinister past and ongoing investigations shrouding it in a shiver-inducing mystery. If you're enjoying this video so far, please support the channel by pressing like, subscribing to Most Amazing, and ringing that notification bell. At number 8 is the Cueva de los Tallos in Ecuador. This isn't your average cave. Legend has it that this cave holds some serious secrets, mysterious metallic objects that are a little bit reminiscent of extraterrestrial technology. There are whispers that these items might be ancient artifacts left behind by a lost civilization. Some say they may hold mystical powers or knowledge beyond our understanding, maybe even relics from a highly advanced ancient society. But here's where things get fascinating. The indigenous tribe tribes in the area have their own spin on these tales. For them, the cave and its treasures are intertwined with their folklore. Some legends talk about the cave as a gateway to the underworld, or a place where spirits dwell. The metallic objects might be seen as gifts from their god or remnants of ancient heroes. But inside this cave is like navigating a maze while blindfolded, as the passages are labyrinth-like. You take one wrong turn and you might as well be lost in a puzzle. But it's not just about the twists and turns. Indigenous folks around these parts believe the cave is off limits for a reason. For them, it's a sacred place tied to their culture and beliefs. So it's not just about respecting the maze, it's also about honoring their traditions. The mystery behind this cave remains intact because access is tightly controlled, and rightly so. Who knows what secrets might still be hiding in those winding tunnels? We may never know. At number 7 is the Javari Valley in Brazil. These tribes in the Javari Valley are like living time capsules, preserving traditions that go way back. Their cultures are a fascinating mix of ancient customs, rituals, and ways of living that have passed down through generations. Their daily lives revolve around what the land provides, as they're masters of survival in the jungle, hunting, fishing, and gathering fruits and plants to meet their needs. So the Javari Valley is where you'll find these groups of indigenous people who've chosen to stay completely isolated from the outside world. So no smartphones, no internet, just their own way of life that's been going on for centuries. Now why the lockdown from the outside population, you ask? Well, these tribes haven't had much contact with the modern world, and you know how it goes. Introducing them to our world could expose them to diseases they've never encountered before. They might not have immunity to fight off a common cold, let alone something stronger. So to protect them and their traditions, the Brazilian government has put in strict rules, making it a no-go zone for outsiders. It's all about preserving their way of life and letting them thrive without interference. At number 6 is the Cerro Sarisariama in Venezuela. I'm sorry, I totally butchered that. This place is like a real-life alien landscape straight out of a sci-fi movie. What makes it special is those big old sinkholes called sima, which are like deep craters that look like as if a chunk of the earth just vanished. These sinkholes are enormous, like giant natural wells, some reaching over 350 meters in diameter and dropping a dizzying 300 meters. But these sinkholes are off limits, because down there, it's a whole different world, a home to unique life forms that adapted to this bizarre environment. The delicate balance of this ecosystem, completely isolated from the world above, needs protecting. So scientists and explorers aren't allowed to roam freely to keep these fascinating sinkholes safe and sound. I mean, you would have thought that this place was banned for your own protection from falling into these crazy sinkholes, but no, the preservation of unique wildlife in these ecosystems is definitely the priority here.
Kicking off the list at number 10, mystery spider. Yeah, for this first one, we're not even sure what kind of spider it is. How calming is that? Let's do it. Some kind of spider is making what's referred to as Silkhenge. Yeah, this piece of spider art was first discovered back in 2013 by Troy Alexander, who posted a photo of it on the internet, asking for help in identifying what exactly he's looking at, but no one could help identify it because it's a totally unknown phenomenon. These structures are created by spiders or some sort of spider to help with reproduction because they're protecting their eggs. It looks quite alien, but this is all just to protect little baby spiders in that middle tip. There's one main spire that's constructed of spider silk, and that's where the eggs are contained, and then surrounding that spire is sort of a circular fence that is also made of spider silk. Similar appearance to Stonehenge, hence the name Silkhenge. But to this day, we haven't found much. This was discovered back in 2013, and only a year ago, we got more information. Tropical science communicator Phil Torres recently visited Peru, and he got footage in 4K. It's beautiful. We no longer have to slide through the same 3 grainy photos. Check this out. Torres explains how this research has affected his well-being, obviously. He said it's the thing that keeps him up at night because it's so annoyingly hard to find. Despite having seen it in so many places he goes, the next time it's like it was never there at all. Yeah, that's frustrating. It's also tiny too. In this recent clip, it's beautiful. Again, high definition. You can really see how intricate the work is, but Torres also discovered that these things are tiny and they come in clusters. So if you find one, there's probably a few nearby. Also, don't destroy it. We still have no idea who or what's making these Silkhenges, so take some photos, hang out a bit, do some research. Number 9, the Brazilian wandering spider. Its bite can give you an erection that lasts for hours. That's a real fact, and that's how I'm gonna start this point here. This animal is dangerous. Its bite, of course, will hurt you. You'll be sweating, blood pressure will increase, hence that side effect. They're more commonly known as banana spiders, so guess I can't eat bananas anymore. There goes my favorite snack. These little guys have been listed as the world's most venomous spider in a handful of years in the Guinness Book of World Records. We love records, record-breaking spiders. If its name didn't already tip you off, these things can be found in Brazil. There's 8 different kinds of wandering spiders. Avoid them all. That's my advice here on MA 10. That's it. How does that sound? Boom. Science is quite interesting here. They're trying to create the next Viagra using the spider's venom. That's why I started with that wild side effect. There's always a point to it. I'm not just being silly all the time. The future is here, friends, and apparently it's filled with spiders. Just cuts to a bunch of old dudes in the woods just hanging out like... please. Number 8. Bullet ants. They're called bullet ants because their bite feels like a bullet wound. Promising start. Awesome. They're also referred to as the Paraponera clavata, but that sounds like a dark curse in Harry Potter, so we're gonna call them the bullet ant for now. They're commonly found in tropical rainforests in Central and South America. Their sting is considered, the most powerful in the world, hence the bullet thing, and its effects can last 24 hours. Yeah, another fun nickname for them is a 24-hour ant. They're also the world's largest ant, so you can really see it coming. You should see it coming, worst case scenario. These guys get you in a colony though, game over. There's a good chance you won't even survive at all. One bite is bad enough, let alone a colony. Its venom's so powerful, it's being studied right now for its use as a pesticide. Yeah, we're sacrificing ants to further our research on how to sacrifice ants. This is dark. That sounds pretty dark when you say it like that. There's actually an indigenous Amazonian tribe in Brazil, and they use bullet ant stings as part of a ceremonial process to become a warrior. I would not pass. I wouldn't even make it to the island. I'm not good with bugs. They have to keep a straight face the entire time whilst getting bit. That's so impressive. Number 7, dart frog. You may be thinking, thank God, a frog, something cute, something unlike the bullet ant. Guess again. Not this time. Small but mighty, the poison dart frog is one of the deadliest animals on Earth. I left the word poison out of the title. I juked you out. I did it on purpose. Its shiny yellow skin will certainly attract the eye, but if you decide to try and, catch one of these slippery boys, its poison can kill 10 fully grown adults. All bad. Indigenous hunters figured this out and they coated the tips of their arrows or darts in this toxin. The toxin created naturally here is called batrachotoxin. Another creature we've mentioned on this channel before that also has the same toxin is the potoo bird. That's in Australia though, it's far away. Either way, a lot of poison moving around us in nature. It's actually pretty alarming. Birds and frogs, I'm just gonna stay home. I'm just gonna stay home and do this all day. Number 6, mosquitoes. These guys suck, no matter where you are, but when it comes to the Amazon, like everything else, it's much worse than you could ever imagine. Mosquitoes are one of the most dangerous because they can fly, and you don't see them coming. And once they get you, the damage has already been done. They're just full of blood. How gross is that? They're horrible. If you travel to parts of the Amazon rainforest and you don't have yellow fever vaccinations or extremely strong mosquito repellent, you're gonna have a bad time. These suckers are clouds of malaria just waiting for you to walk into by accident. And then you go, oh, and it's too late. Number 5, decoy spider. Oh, these are all horrible. These decoy building spiders are exceptionally small, but super smart. These spiders only measure to be about 5 millimeters in length, but you might see a much larger spider hanging out in a web that they've created. See, this might sound scary, but this large spider is actually a fake spider. It's a decoy. It's a decoy spider that the small spider built out of various materials like food scraps, debris, even their old skin to make a bigger, scarier spider. That's horrible. I wish I didn't know this. Look, art is subjective, okay, that's for sure. I don't think this is the most lovely piece of animal art on the planet, but it works. It gets the job done. A rather impressive defense mechanism for such a tiny little dude. These spiders were only discovered pretty recently, so again, not much is known about them, as there still needs to be tons of research done, just like the other horrible spider on this list. It is, however, believed that this is a feature that has evolved in this particular spider, so it's possible we've only recently discovered it because it's a new feature. Yeah, how neat is that? Hey, spiders are learning new tricks. Hit that thumbs up. I'm so scared. Cheers. Number 4, the electric eel. First of all, never rub an electric eel like they're a genie lamp. You're gonna want 3 more wishes if you do that, my friend. That was the moray eel. That one can bite your fingers off, which is horrible. But you should never touch an eel in the first place because a lot of them are electric. As its name hints towards, these type of eels can mess you up even if you weren't to get the first hit. Specifically, the newly discovered 2.5 meter Electrophorus volti. Yeah, the Electrophorus volti. No, that's not a new hybrid car coming out on the market. This is a dangerous beast. It was appropriately named after Alessandro Volta, aka the guy who invented the battery, and it can release a shock up to 860 volts, more than 7 times the voltage of your average wall plug. It was recently discovered only a year ago that electric eels in Amazon rivers like to travel in packs. They like to travel with their friends, and they all head to the bar together. How fun is that? Packs of electric water snakes. Does it get worse than that? It can't get worse than that, can it? Number 3, black caiman. It can get worse than that. It can get a lot worse than that. If you're not a fan of alligators, you might want to skip to the next one. Black caiman is the largest family member in the Alligator Day crew. These super alligators live in calm, slow moving rivers, places you wouldn't expect, a dinosaur to be and jump out at you, essentially. Just like dangerous river snakes, one I might talk about later, these black caiman will take it slow and just wait for their prey to have a sip of water. And then at that point, the largest predator in the Amazon will grab its lunch and quickly return to the water, just like that. Be very loud and very fast. This thing eats birds, it eats reptiles, mammals even. Yeah. This thing can and will eat everything. Between 2008 and 2013 alone, there were 43 black caiman attacks on people. Yeah, a handful of these attacks were fatal. I'll leave it at that. Number 2, pink dolphins. We'll do a nice one before we do the horrible big bad number 1. Deal? Deal. Pink dolphins of the Amazon River. They're the largest of all river dolphins, and adults, more often than not, males end up turning pink as they age, and we have no idea why. Scientists aren't exactly sure why these guys are pink or why the color comes later in life, seeing as, they're born gray. Our leading theory here is that the color is brought on by scar tissue that results from fighting with other dolphins or predators. I'm sure it's not an easy go, swimming through schools of electric eels and all that jazz, so yeah, fair, it could be a pretty rough environment. Some old legends hilariously mention that pink dolphins maybe can turn into a handsome man in the evenings, and then during this time they would hypnotize and seduce young women before turning back into dolphins again near sunrise. Yeah, forget Morbius. I want to see that movie. That's a supervillain origin story I would pay to see. The pink dolphin handsome man. He has one day to find love, and then he turns back into a dolphin. Number 1, green anacondas. Of course, we have to talk about the anaconda, specifically the green anaconda. It's green like the Hulk, because it's always angry and scary and violent. This movie came out 25 years ago. I remember watching Anaconda with my family, and it made me extremely afraid of snakes, actually. This was probably the one that did it. So how accurate was that film? Although the green anaconda is a non-venomous snake, the boa constrictor is still one of the most dangerous ever. It's the most feared, definitely the most feared. Green anacondas live in calm marshes or slow streams, and again, they wait until their large prey gets thirsty, and once they come to the water, the anaconda suffocates and wraps around its lunch. Yeah. Anacondas hunt prey that's larger than us humans, so if they wanted to, they could for sure eat us. There's only no evidence of it happening because humans rarely interact with them in general, so anacondas probably don't know they could eat us. Green anacondas can reach lengths of up to 30 feet, so plenty of space for you and yours. Awesome. You and yours. He ends it on a voice crack. That's great. That's how scared I am of this anaconda.
At number 5 is Cali in Colombia. Cali, located in southwestern Colombia, is one of those spots you might want to think twice about visiting, because it's got some serious problems with violence and crime. You've got stuff like substance trafficking, human trafficking, and all kinds of gangs running the show up there. And get this, the law enforcement folks often can't keep up with all the crime and corruption happening in the area. Now, it's not just about where you're from or how good your Spanish is. Whether you're a longtime resident, a backpacker, or even a member of a famous band, safety is a huge issue here. Armed robberies are way too common, making it a dangerous place to be. People often fall victims to things like muggings, assaults, and credit card theft. And some seriously awful things happen when victims try to resist robberies. So it's best to stay informed and cautious when you're in these parts of South America. At number 4 is the Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia. Definitely butchered that too. The biggest salt flat in the world. It's like stepping onto another planet like the one from the Star Wars franchise. Imagine this vast expanse stretching endlessly with bright white salt as far as your eyes can see. It's a surreal sight. Now, why is it off limits to solar adventurers? Well, picture trying to navigate through what seems like an infinite stretch of pure white. It's not just about getting lost in the terrain, you guys. This isn't your average stroll in the park. The surface might look smooth, but there are hidden dangers like soft spots where your vehicle might sink or salt mounds that could throw you off your track. This barren salt flat means that there are no defined roads or landmarks. It's like a blank canvas just waiting to confuse you. You could be driving around for hours with the only thing changing in your environment is the time of day. So it's definitely not a stroll you can take lightly. Better to explore this mesmerizing wonderland with somebody who knows the ropes or through organized tours. At number 3 is Iquitos in Peru. Deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest, you've got this city that's like an island in the middle of a jungle. It's not your typical city with roads leading in and out. No. You arrive here by either boat or plane. Now the thing about Iquitos is that it's a gateway to some seriously wild parts of the Amazon that are straight up off limits. As you venture out from Iquitos, it's like stepping into this maze of green, dense, untamed jungle that goes on and on. But here's the kicker. Not all of it is open for exploration. There are chunks of this terrain that are a no-go zone because imagine this dense foliage where paths disappear quicker than you can say adventure. You've got wildlife that's both beautiful and, let's just say, not the most welcoming if you stumble into their territory. And then there's the whole uncharted thing. It's like wandering off without a map in a place that's huge and mysterious, and you're definitely not gonna find your way back. So while Iquitos may seem like the starting point for a grand jungle adventure, some parts around here are best left untouched. At number 2 is the Madidi National Park in Bolivia. Picture this place as a biodiversity hotspot, like a treasure trove of nature's wonders, packed with dense rainforests and a parade of diversity life. But a lot of these areas here are off limits, not because they're hiding secret societies or anything like that, as far as we know, but for a really cool reason. Conservation. Imagine wandering into a rainforest where jaguars prowl like they own the place and monkeys swinging from tree to tree. That's just a snippet of what you would find here. But to keep this natural wonderland intact, some parts of the park are a no-go zone for curious adventurers. They've got these zones marked out to let the critters and plants do their thing without our meddling. And at number 1 is La Isla de Queimada Grande, also known as Snake Island in Brazil. Off the southern coast of Brazil sits an island nobody dares to visit. It's called the Snake Island, and it's off limits for a pretty good reason, if you could tell by the name. Legend has it that once a fisherman who went too close to this island was later found unalived in his boat, surrounded and covered in bodily fluids. This place is like a snake paradise, but not the good kinds of snakes. It's home to the golden lance head pit vipers, some of the most lethal snakes out there. Brazil made it illegal to visit this island because these vipers mean serious business. These snakes are special. They've evolved in isolation. They're even more lethal than their mainland cousins because they've only had birds to prey on, so their venom is extra strong to quickly take out entire birds. Bite from one of these guys could take you out in an hour. Now nobody knows the exact number of snakes here, but it's a lot. Local legends say that pirates or rising sea levels brought them, but the truth is that sea levels rose thousands of years ago, isolating the island and letting these snakes evolve differently. Now despite the danger, some folks want the snake venom for medicine, as the venom has shown potential in alleviating heart conditions, which has led to something of a black market demand for the venom. For some lawbreakers, financial allure is incentive enough to risk their own lives on this island.
Number 5. Amazon rings. The Amazon rings are famous massive circular ditches, sometimes up to 16 feet deep and just as wide. So how could these geoglyphs have appeared within the forest? The reality seems to be that these were created before the forest itself even existed. It's hard to imagine a time before the Amazon forest grew, but studies suggest that these rings were created long before the forest was. It's thought to be more remnants of life in the Amazon before the Europeans arrived, with an estimated 6 to 10 million people living in the area. It's unsure just what exactly these rings were used for, and some people have gone as far as to suggest that aliens left the markings in the ground behind, a sort of Amazon crop circle. It's unfortunate that the discovery of these rings was a direct result of the clear cutting and logging going on in the forest. Number 4. Lost cities. Even as recently as the 20th century, explorers have been venturing into the rainforest for supposed lost cities that have never been found. Some of those explorers even becoming lost, never to be seen again, like the tale of British explorer Percy Fawcett. As it turns out, scientists have discovered that these lost cities that so many went in search of likely did really exist, thanks to some high-tech helicopter remote sensing technology. It seems that there were massive cities that were abandoned only some 600 years ago, and it's believed that up to 2 million people lived in the rainforest at one point. The cities stretch for miles and include things like complex waterway systems and large conical pyramids. The true mystery is what happened to this civilization. How do entire cities disappear into the forest without a trace? As these cities were built with mud bricks and are almost completely destroyed, we may never know what really happened to them. Number 3. The Man of the Hole. One famous resident of the vast rainforest is someone you've probably never heard of before. He is known as the Man of the Hole, as no one knows his true name or who he really is. So why is he so famous? He's indigenous to the rainforest and is known to be the very last remaining member of his remote tribe. The rest of his people were killed by farmers and land grabbers who wanted to make use of the land that they'd been living on. As a result, he is the loneliest man in the world, no one knowing his language or how to communicate with him. And it seems as though he doesn't want anyone to anyways. He has attacked government officials who have tried to come close, living on his now protected territory, digging holes to hide in and capture animals, earning his name of the Man in the Hole. It's also thought that he may be making these holes to try and capture anyone who would dare get close to him. He has been caught on camera only a few times, showing us that he's still around. Number 2. El Tunche. If you ever, for some reason, find yourself walking through the rainforest and you hear a distant whistling sound, it would be wise of you not to seek it out, especially if you've been stomping on a few too many plants lately. That's because what you are hearing might be the call of El Tunche, a demon who wanders the forest, protecting the wildlife and condemning those who would harm it. If you haven't done any damage to the forest, then he'll probably just scare you off. But if you have, you might as well start running. By calling out, the demon is trying to entice you to whistle back and reveal your exact location to him. If you do so, El Tunche's call will grow louder and louder, following you wherever you go. Eventually, it invades your mind as you sleep, drawing you into madness. I think that's a good enough reason to start being a little bit kinder to our natural surroundings. Number 1. El Lobizon. A widespread legend across South America is that of El Lobizon. It is a werewolf-like creature that can be seen walking on all fours and also on its hind legs. Different from Western and Hollywood interpretations and depictions of werewolves, El Lobizon is not created through a bite, but instead born. Any 7th son that is born in an unbroken line of boys will become the creature, usually transforming around their 13th birthday. The stories have caused people to abandon, give up, or even kill their own 7th son. Every full moon, the boy will transform into the wolf-like creature, hunting down prey with unmatched speed and endurance. While just a legend, with a place as vast as the rainforest, who knows if El Lobizon isn't hiding in those darkest hidden corners.
Next on the list we have the Goliath bird eater, and heads up, it's a spider, and yes, it does eat birds. The Goliath is a massive tarantula. Its body measures in at about 5 inches and it has a leg span of up to 11, which makes this thing certified nightmare fuel. The animal is obviously a carnivore, consuming not only birds, but mice, lizards, and frogs as well. It hunts by pouncing on its prey and then piercing it with inch-long fangs, which act as hypodermic needles, pumping neurotoxins into the bodies of its victims. The spider then drags its dinner back to its burrow, where it liquefies the animal's insides before sucking it dry. So now that we know how it catches its own prey, let's discuss how it avoids becoming someone else's. The Goliath has pretty bad eyesight, but it does have highly sensitive leg hairs that can sense vibrations from all around. When the spider notices a predator is getting too close, it will rub its legs together, releasing the tiny harpoon-like hairs, which are tipped with stinging barbs, into the air, irritating predators' skin and eyes, strongly encouraging them to find a different meal. Also, they can lay between 50 and 150 eggs at a time, which is just awesome. Next on our list, we have the vampire wasp, a large-headed parasitic animal that grows to be just 0.2 shy of an inch, discovered in the Peruvian jungles of the Amazon. 2 things you should know about this animal. 1, the vampire wasp feeds by stinging its prey and then sucking out the blood and other internally bodily fluids of its victim. And 2, the females lay eggs by locating a suitable insect host, stabbing it with their ovipositor, which is basically a tube-like egg-laying organ, and then laying eggs under the host's skin. When the eggs hatch, the juvenile wasps remain under the skin of their host, feeding on its insides until they become fully grown. I love you guys, but I hated learning that. Next up, at our halfway point, we have an animal absolutely no less terrifying than the rest, going by the name of T-Rex Leech. And it was discovered, drumroll please, inside someone's nose. Also known as the Tyrant Leech King, this animal can grow to be just under 2 inches. Of course, as a leech, it survives by sucking the blood from its prey. The way it does this is by using its 8.13mm teeth situated around its circular jaw to bite down on its prey, and then moving around in a sawing motion to open up the wound. Already, I apologize, but in the name of entertainment and at the expense of me sleeping tonight, I'm gonna keep going. Besides the T-Rex leech's abnormally large teeth and body, there is one other thing that makes it just a bit different than others in the leech family. Instead of attacking exposed surface skin, this guy likes to get a little more intimate, aiming for the orifices of its host bodies, such as, well, noses and mouths. Usually the noses and mouths of livestock, but judging by the nature in which it was discovered, I'd say they're really not that picky. Moving past our halfway point today, we have the giant centipede, which can grow up to 12 inches. Yay! This large and absolutely horrifying animal has a body that is composed of 21 to 23 distinct sections, with each section having its own pair of legs. Quick maths, that's 42 to 46 pokey little yellow legs. The animal generally feeds on insects, snails, and worms, and it does so by utilizing their quick speed to catch their prey and then biting down hard with its two front legs tipped with large spikes that work like pinchers. The spikes then administer a paralyzing venom to its prey, rendering it, well, screwed. I'm gonna ease your minds for a moment and let you know that these guys aren't really interested in attacking humans. Now that the moment's over, I will let you know what happens on the rare occasions these guys do decide to stray from their straight and narrow. The bite of a giant centipede can cause a person to experience headache, chest pain, heart tremors, nausea, and vomiting. Super cool! Moving right along, we've got the world's most powerful electric eel, bear with me, Electrophorus voltae. It's a small, relatively docile animal. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's actually a 2 meter, 6 foot 7 inch long monster that can weigh up to 20 kilograms, which is 44 pounds. And it has sharp teeth on both its upper and lower jaws that it uses to tear apart its prey of small fish and shellfish. Don't worry, I know I buried the lead, and I bet you're all dying to know just how electric this eel really is. Well, let me start off by saying the previously highest recorded voltage of an electric eel was 650 volts, which has caused fatal heart and respiratory failure in humans when shocked multiple times. This new guy's voltage is just a teeny bit higher, 210 volts higher to be exact. Simply put, this 860 volt electrical eel would cause a lot of damage. How much exactly? Well, we're not really sure yet, but I'll tell you this, I will not be the one to find out. If you guessed that next on the list we'd have another nightmarish creature capable of causing serious damage to those who come too close for comfort, give yourself a pat on the back because you're nailing it, as this next animal is exactly that. The pyra, also known as the vampire fish, does not suck blood or insides of its prey, but it does have extremely large fangs that can grow to be up to 15 centimeters long. That's 5.9 inches. Almost half a foot of nightmare fuel. You might think there's some kind of saving grace here, but there's not. This animal is extremely fast and highly aggressive, considered to be one of the ultimate jungle predators. I guess we did have to even the playing field somehow though, as in recent years these feisty fish that measure in anywhere between 1.5 to 3 feet in length and weigh up to 20 pounds have become the catch of choice for fly fishers within the region. I hope you guys are doing alright, and I also hope you are not afraid of snakes, because if you are, this next one just might make your skin crawl. It's the green anaconda, aka the largest snake in the Amazon, reaching lengths of up to 30 feet, that's 9 meters, and diameters of up to 12 inches, 30.5 centimeters. And if you're still not impressed, these animals can weigh up to an astounding 550 pounds or 250 kilograms. These animals are members of the boa constrictor family, and although they have incredibly sharp teeth and powerful jaws, they are, thankfully, not venomous. But of course, they're incredibly strong, and they use their strength to crush their prey by curling up around it and restricting its airways, providing little chance for escape. The green anaconda is not at all a picky eater either, with an expansive diet of fish, reptiles, amphibians, tapirs, deers, dogs, capybaras, sheep, and whatever the heck else they can find, really. Luckily for us, attacks on humans are pretty rare, but not unheard of, and yeah, they can swim, like really well. So keep your eyes peeled for these masters of camouflage the next time you're taking a walk through the Amazon jungle. And finally, to finish us off today, we have the Amazonian bullet ant. Just a little guy with a lifespan of about 90 days, growing to be between just 0.07 to 1.2 inches long. Living in the humid lowlands of the Amazon rainforest, this demon creature has the most powerful sting in the world. Getting stung by this guy has been described as pure, intense, brilliant pain, like walking over flaming charcoal with 3-inch nails embedded in your heels. Oh my god, the Amazon needs to chill. Besides up to 24 hours of an intense amount of pain, symptoms of being stung by the insect include fever, nausea, trembling, and cardiac arrhythmia. So while you won't die, you will for sure feel like you're in hell until the symptoms wear off. If you guys want to hear something really wild, listen up. There are certain Amazonian tribes that use these ants in coming-of-age ceremonies, requiring young men to wear gloves filled with them for a total of 10 minutes in order to achieve status within their community. And in order to be considered a village warrior, they must complete this ceremony a total of 20 times. Thank God we made it. I know I'm not in the Amazon, but I will definitely be checking my sheets tonight after all of that.
Number 5, black caiman. If you aren't a fan of alligators, just go ahead and skip to number 4, I guess, because this one's terrifying, honestly. These super alligators live in calm, slow-moving rivers, of course, like the big bad anacondas, places you wouldn't expect a dinosaur to jump out at you. Essentially, that's where you're gonna find one. Just like dangerous river snakes, these black caiman will take it slow. They'll wait for their prey to have a little sip of water, and then, and only then, the largest predator in the Amazon will then race out and grab its lunch, and then quickly return to the water. It's so scary. I've seen this on Reddit. They're fast. They are quite fast. Birds, reptiles, mammals, you name it, this thing can eat it all, and it will eat it all with this big chomping mouth. Between 2008 and October 2013 alone, there were 43 black caiman attacks on people. Yeah, human beings. So stay away from the Amazon, stay away from the water. Don't do anything. Don't even go to zoos anymore. Just stop. Don't even exist. Number 4, Silkhenge. We don't even know what spider this is. So yeah, mystery spider leaving mystery art. Here we go. He's the Banksy of spiders. Let's talk about him. There's some sort of spider that's making what is referred to as a silkhenge. Now it's tiny. It's on a little leaf. You will miss this. That's why it's so rare to find. This piece of spider art was first discovered in 2013 by Troy Alexander. Side note, what an amazing name. Like Troy Alexander, you're a Greek goddess, my friend. Troy Alexander posted a photo of it on the internet asking for help in identifying it. I mean, because obviously it's so alien, but nobody can help identify because it's a totally unknown phenomena. And these structures help with reproduction because they're actually protecting eggs. That's the whole purpose. There's one main spire that is constructed of spider silk, and then that's where all the eggs are contained. Then there's also a wall or a fence that's made of spider silk to protect all the eggs in the middle. Therefore, it looks like Stonehenge. That's where it gets its name from, obviously. Stonehenge, Silkhenge, they look the same, both fascinating. One's really gross and made of webs, the other's made of rocks and lovely. Hopefully one day we can find out the real creator of these sculptures so we can give them the proper credit they deserve. But number 3, mosquitoes. These guys suck no matter where you are, but when it comes to the Amazon, oh, it's much worse than you could ever imagine, of course, as if anything else is not calming in there. Mosquitoes are one of the most dangerous because they can fly. You don't see them coming, and once they get you, too late, the damage has already been done. They have your blood, now they're gonna go sell it on the black web. If you travel to parts of the Amazon rainforest and you don't have yellow fever vaccinations or extremely strong mosquito repellent, then you are going to have an extremely bad time. Yeah, these guys are just clouds of malaria waiting for you to walk right into. And that's so disgusting. I can't even do it. Even cottages, I can't do it. I'm not a fan of mosquitoes. Number 2, bullet ants. Ugh, Ant-Man would not fight this ant. No way. They're called bullet ants because their bite feels like a bullet wound, so that is a promising start, my friends. It's also referred to as a Paraponera clavata. The bullet ant is commonly found in tropical rainforests in Central and South America. Their sting is considered the most powerful in the world, hence the, bullet alias, and its effects can last 24 hours. That's a long time to be in a horrible amount of pain. These guys get you in a colony though, game over. There's a good chance that you won't survive that. One was bad enough, let alone a colony? Oh, that's terrible. Its venom is so powerful that currently these ants are being studied for its use as a pesticide. So we're sacrificing ants in order to further their research on how to sacrifice ants. Number 1, Brazilian wandering spider. Alrighty, this spider can actually help you guys out. Let's do it. Its bite can give you an erection that lasts for hours. That's a real fact. This animal is also obviously dangerous. Its bite will also hurt, besides, that amazing side effect. You'll be sweating, blood pressure will increase, hence, that side effect. And they're more commonly known as banana spiders. It can be found, of course, in Brazil, and there's 8 different kinds of wandering spiders. So my advice, avoid them all. The science is quite interesting here though. They're trying to create the next Viagra by using the spider's venom. Those are the top 10 terrifying Amazon forest discoveries that will make you never travel to the Amazon again. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, comment down below the craziest place you've ever visited, and then I'll make sure to never go there. Awesome, see you next time, bye.
Want to see more videos like this one? Check out this video next. It's all about mermaids that were captured on camera. Pretty intriguing, right? So what do you think? Is the footage real or fake? Click the video now to find out more and let us know what you decide. What are you waiting for? Click the video now.